Hey guys, your boy Luxter here. It's another week of Coach on a Couch. Lots to talk about after a fun-filled weekend of sport. Jeez. Oh, there's a reason I'm wearing black today, as you can see, from top to bottom here, considering the final that we just had. They did so well to the Proteas and then just wasn't meant to be. So we'll talk about that in a moment with Dongs. Dongs will give us a wrap up of the week that was. Lots of rugby still on the go, in particular the Craven week as well as the Academy week over the past weekend that SA Schools and SAA team fielded out and named over the weekend. The SA Under 20s are busy at their championship down in the south of the country. So lots of sports. Doesn't want to give us a bit of a break, which I guess keeps us here every week. Dongs?
Lucky Luxter. So lucky to be back here. I know you've been the busiest guy with Craven Week, so I can't wait to hear what you have to tell us.
Yeah, no, it's been busy, but let's leave Craven Week for a second. Did his foot touch or not?
I mean, scandal. I think it would have been more scandalous if they gave the 6.
Yeah.
But did it touch?
You know what? We've seen, various images and various videos coming out of he literally did touch it. It was minuscule. But you know what my feeling is? If you're going to do that in a World Cup final, catch a ball like that there to make your team win the World Cup, give it to him, double his salary and move along the Proteas.
But things like that happened to India because, I mean, the momentum they had coming into that final after what they did to England in the semi-final.
England just didn't rock up. They weren't keen to play. They could have just gone home and just saved all of us a Thursday evening.
Well, I mean, the bowler Bumrah, who is a spin bowler, a swing bowler? He just had the oaks.
And he did the same again with the Proteas. So, commiserations to the Proteas. Well done on getting into the final, but not to be for the cock and the lads and Markram. But other than that, a really, really good World Cup by the Proteas. No one even thought they would get this far. We spoke about it at length last week. So not to be, but it is what it is. We'll take the silver and we'll run.
Yeah.
So
2 undefeated teams in the final. I mean, it was going to be fireworks.
And it was.
India winning their first cricket final in 17 years.
17 years, yeah. So it meant a lot to them. Would have been our first one, so we'll just have to wait a little while longer. It'll be interesting to see a couple of the players. Often you see at the end of World Cups players announcing their retirement and things like that. Virat Kohli announced that would be his last T20 international at the end of that. So let's see where the Proteas go. But all in all, yes, disappointing in the final there. But well done to the lads for getting there. What was next? The golf?
Some golf?
Yeah.
I mean, these guys play golf for 14 days and they finish 17 under. If I had to play golf for 4 days, I might be posting a cricket score there. But with that, Cam Davis winning his second PGA major. So on 18 under.
18 under. Gee, after 4 days.
Yeah, that was
absolutely remarkable.
I've got something else, like a little bit distant from golf, but finally Brian Mitchell has something to smile about.
Oh, yeah.
Landile Ngeke
yes.
versus Gerald Pakla for an international bantamweight. The lad is now 8 fights, 7 wins, with looking like a great prospect with around 3 KO.
Okay.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Also, what else was fun was UFC. I'm sure you've seen the highlight of a head kick. Pereira beating Yuri with the head kick. It's unstoppable. It's greatness. There was just greatness. I love it.
That kick sent him into dreamland, huh?
We love it. Lucky, there was also a little bit of scandal in the Formula One. Can you tell us about that?
Yay! Touch. Both drivers there. A bit of a mini collision there. No one accepting responsibility for it. Both of them haven't been taken off the racetrack. So the conversations are still going. Whose fault was it? Who caused it? Was it intentional? Was it not? It's always drama in Formula One these days. Yeah. So plenty on the go there, particularly over this weekend. From what I saw, couldn't really tell. So, okay, let the kids play, man. Just keep it
And
moving.
then we had a bit of a bye weekend for international rugby.
Well,
We've got the Bokke coming up
Bokke
this
is
weekend.
coming up. Yeah, we had to give Ireland a break. I mean, Munster's been eating it and catching it. Leinster's been catching it. So just need to give the lads a break before they come through for this upcoming weekend.
Lovely stuff. So now, please, Lucky, tell us a little bit about the Craven Week.
Fantastic. Wow. So the Academy Week and the Craven Week was happening at the same time. So where the Academy Week, for those who are not familiar, are the under 18B sides or the development sides. Some teams bring the under 17 sides there, depending on. So they partake in that tournament as well. But the amount of talent that we have in South Africa is just absolutely amazing. Our Zayden Felix and the rest of Grey College, the Free State team were just absolutely amazing. They fell short, unfortunately, to Western Province in the final. There's this odd thing where both Craven Week and Academy Week, they call it unofficial final. So they take the teams that have done best in terms of results-wise, and then you'll play in the main game on the last day. But it's called an unofficial final. I'm like, oh, guys, I won all my games. It's a final. So I don't understand. I tried to inquire with the powers that be, with the unions. So why isn't it an official final? No one could really tell me. So the final, the Western Province won the final. And then the Lions did really well at Academy Week. So they got 3 out of 3 and they won the Academy Week section. That's 2 for them. They won it last year as well. That was hosted across at Jeppe. So the SA Schools team was posted. We'll see those of you that didn't have enough data over the last week. We'll see if we can post it up for you so you can see. But some regular names that we're expecting there. Felix Epesetum Nebelele is in the mix there. Yanku Purchase has made the side from Afis as well. So nice, good spread. And it's really, really exciting to see where we are at the moment in terms of rugby. So 2 very well-run tournaments over the week. And then, of course, the SA Under-20 side that have recently come back from Australasia. They're down in the south of the country. They played their opening game against Fiji. And, listen, I don't know what I said in the change room. I don't know what I said on the flight back from Australasia, but those guys were angry. And they minced Fiji. Listen, long may that continue. We wish under-20s all the best for the duration of the tournament. And then, of course, the Ladies' Week starts this week.
Yes, we were speaking about that off camera. Please tell us a lot more about that. It's my first time hearing of it.
Yeah, so similar to the Craven Week and the Grant Coma, which is the under-16 week. So ladies have the same as well. So that's been hosted across at Jeppe High School for Boys at the moment. So they partake in the same week. So the ladies will play on the under-18 ladies will play on the Monday, and the Wednesday, the under-16s will play on the alternate day. So same again, interprovincial. So it's wonderful to see the ladies there. Obviously, there's not much of a schools league to speak of in terms of how they participate. So a lot of them are joining clubs under their respective unions, and that's how they're getting into the frameworks and the setups. But there's some really, really good rugby on display. So do make sure you catch it on the various sports channels or come through to the schools there. I'm still behind the mic for the week. But yeah, it's nice to see that ladies rugby in a healthy place as well as far as the youth weeks are involved.
Yes, okay. Before we move on to your play of the week.
Yeah.
It's the Durban July this weekend.
Yes.
Tell us what your feelings are about that.
My feelings are, big parties, lots of fanfare, nice fancy dress, lots of functions for horses to run for about 2 minutes. And a whole lot of money involved.
A few blessers, a few getting blessed.
There, ladies doing their thing. So, unfortunately, I don't have the budget for it. So I'll let the other guys go. But
we'll be watching it on TV though.
Yeah, but just a Sunday morning.
A small 20 Rand bet here or there.
Hey, listen.
All of a sudden, you're phoning the Shams asking about a horse.
I see what you did there. Yeah, we'll see what the Durban July, always fanfare, always a bit of drama, always some public figure doing something or other. So we'll head to the tracks. If the Shams aren't available, I've got a contact as well, Dion de Vet, who's very much into the horses. So yeah, I might spare a 20 Rand or so to put in there to see what can happen. And that in the Durban July. Coming to my highlight of the week. Now, this one is really special, Donks. I hope you do enjoy it. one thing I want to show you here, that one, you're never too old to play sport, and two, listen, sport is what you make of it. They throw you a basketball, next thing you're heading the ball. So let's have a look here at my sports highlight of the week.
And the crowd goes wild.
Oh, man. You see it so often where these guys just take out random posts and they get the communities involved. And then the Madala car guard comes in. He says, let me show you a thing or two there. But just amazing. And like the caption says, only in Mzansi do we see that. Let's see who our guest on the couch is for today. Adam van Harten, welcome to the couch.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah, man, we saw you having a bit of a whale of a time off camera there. So hopefully you're going to add in some 2 cents to the banter that was going down there with Dino. But before we get into that, please look into that camera there. Give us your name, your surname, your nickname, your claim to fame, and your reason to get up on a Monday.
What's up, guys? My name is Adam van Harten. I'm a professional paddle player. I don't have a nickname yet. And my reason to wake up on a Monday is
Texas.
to play the sport I love, I guess.
I was going to say, got to add to the economy of the country somehow, but okay, we'll go with the love of the sport. Dino, you got some homework to do. Adam doesn't have a nickname, so get busy on that side there. So, a professional paddle player. There's something you've probably never heard of before in the country. So, Adam, you're at Pretoria Boys. You are a tennis player by trade in terms of your contribution to your school. You finish high school, and then what?
So then I relocated back to Cape Town, and I studied at UCT. Studied physiotherapy at UCT. Still playing a bit of tennis in my university days, but only for the first 2 years. Then as the studies got a little bit more intense, I sort of stopped playing tennis a little bit. And that's kind of where I picked up paddle towards the end of 2022. That's where I played for the first time. And from there, you could just say it took off from there.
Sure. So paddle courts are being built towards the end of COVID, as memory would have it, and a whole bunch of things about social distancing and things like that there. So we didn't know much about paddle in South Africa at that stage, obviously being played a majority of it in Europe and primarily in Spain and in Argentina, where you said it kicked off. So how were you introduced into the sport?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, back it did kind of gain its popularity through COVID with the whole social distancing aspect. It was a sport that people could still play and enjoy. For me, I was actually invited to a game by a friend of mine.
Right.
I'd seen a couple of the courts pop up here and there, and I realized it looked kind of similar to tennis. I thought,
might as well.
Why not?
Let me rust off the old shoulder. Huh?
Yeah. And I was just waiting for an invite. And then one of my friends invited me to a game. I enjoyed it a lot, of course. And then I think I was addicted from my first game. From there, I just wanted to play more and more and more and more. And I think we entered a couple of tournaments after that. We played like 3-4 games, entered a couple of tournaments, won those tournaments. And that really, really kicked off from there towards the December 2022, I would say. Really, really took off from there.
So we're already having tournaments in South Africa from 2022.
Yes.
So it must have been quite a niche market, because, I mean, for Dino and I sitting on our couch thinking, when is Uncle Cyril going to open the beverages stores? There were competitions that were happening. So, where did you find out about these competitions? Is there a federation for paddle? Is it a, hey, invite me on Instagram type thing if you want a game? Where was this association in terms of your competitiveness and access to competitions?
Yeah, no, so you're right. It's a very exclusive sport. It still is. I think it's gotten a bit better now in the fact that it's more inclusive with a lot of people. yeah, I mean, the sport doesn't have a governing body or federation as of yet.
Right.
I can see one coming in very, very soon. So a lot of the tournaments back then, and it's still how it is now, just more prize money, is run by a lot of this. It's the guys who open the paddle courts, the organizations. Those guys are hosting their own tournaments just to bring a bit of exposure to the club. Host the high level tournaments, brings people out, and they do a very good job of it. I must say, it's not like other sports I've experienced, because I mean, I had a conversation with my friend about this the other day, compared to the way tennis used to be when I was growing up. I mean, you'd get to the tournament and it's an early match. There's no one there. It's just you give your name in. It's the entry. It's you play your match. It's done. If you win, maybe you'll get a small trophy. You'll get this or that. Where these paddle tournaments have just taken these tournaments to a whole nother level. And that's why you see these massive turnouts to it, because it's not just the paddle. It's the community that they create. And any tournament, it doesn't even have to be a really high level tournament. They have these rating caps now with the brackets for anyone to enter, so it's a bit more fair.
Right.
So no matter what your level is, you can enter. So you and Dino can go into one in a lower bracket.
What would it be? Novice or beginner? What's
goes-
the lowest level?
Actually get handicapped. So
No,
you'll get a
absolutely,
handicap.
absolutely.
Do you?
So Playtomic is the app that they run everything through.
Okay.
In South Africa. So your level can go from 1 to a 7. No, not 1, sorry, 0. 0 to 7. 7 being the highest, 0 the lowest. And then they will have brackets in the tournament. So this entry will be 0 to 2.5. The next one will be 2.5 to 4. And then they'll have 4 and above. And all of them are competing.
Usually it's your friend sitting next to the
Oh,
court.
does he?
Yeah.
When you get off the field, he'll tell you what he thinks about your game.
So
that's-
you are a 7.
I'm a 5.5. But it's like I said, the Playtomic
Subjective.
ranked are very, very subjective. So it is a
Okay.
bit of a talking point, quite controversial at the moment, because you are getting guys who are lowering their rating to play in these.
Tournaments so I can
Yes.
win the money.
Yeah.
But now I've heard that you have to get your handicap verified by a coach, such as maybe yourself.
Yes. So you can do that. It's called like a leveling. So a Playtomic
Okay.
coach can do this leveling. And then they can adjust your level. I don't know how much I agree with it. I think it definitely does help for the guys just starting. So if you starting for the first time, your rating probably isn't accurate and you might struggle to get games, which is obviously not the best position to be in. You get leveled, you get put into a more accurate rating. Then when you send out matches for guys to join, they see your rating, it's more accurate, you get a lot more games. So there's definitely a place for it, but it's being abused at the same time.
So I guess, these are just the teething issues of not having a federation, of not having an organization. So, to run it there. But it's a good problem to have, I guess. You got to start somewhere. And if you look at any league in South Africa, I mean, look how well established rugby is in this country. And every week when those ratings come out on who's the best rugby school, there's still a problem with that. So it's good teething issues to have. And I guess something to work on, as you said, hopefully a federation comes along in due course. Please take us through, because this paddle thing, it's a mini tennis doubles with a heavy racket thing, and you hit the ball against the wall and it can bounce. In a nutshell.
Where do I start? Where would you like me to start?
I just want to know, am I on the right track here with these 8? I know.
You're getting there.
I'm just getting there.
Close enough.
So take us through, for example,
Right.
this paddle. Why on earth is it so heavy?
So this paddle, it's 2 different surfaces that it's made out of. So you can see it's quite similar to a tennis racket in terms of its shape. It's a lot smaller. So the grip is shorter. The face of the racket is also shorter.
Right.
So the outside material is made up of like a carbon fiber,
Yeah.
with the inside being like a foam. So
Okay.
you get different types of fibers and different types of foams that suits different players, different play styles. So the racket that I use, this is the Adidas Metal Bone.
Looks expensive.
I mean, you don't even need to know anything about
Yeah.
I mean, that's like seeing a car drive past. You don't even
You
need
just
to.
know.
Yeah, exactly. Lucky.
He had me and it has 2 surfaces. I was like, what?
That grip even looks like a good set of rims.
Yeah.
Brand new.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean this specific racket, it's actually not carbon fiber. It's 2-to-1 aluminium. So it's even stronger than a carbon fiber. So it will aids a lot in power. The foam inside is soft. So either you get soft, medium, hard. Essentially, a softer foam will give you a little bit more control.
Right.
A little bit more feel over the ball. And that's kind of the balance which I like quite a lot about this racket, where I still get lots of control, but then with the surface on the outside, I'm still able to generate lots of power. So that's the racket. And the grip that you were referring to, it's a specific type of grip called a Hessecore grip.
Yeah, what? Even the
I
name
told you.
just sounds expensive. I'm going to use that going on. I've got a Hessecore grip.
Listen, Lucky, I think for your first game, you might have to borrow this racket.
Borrow? I might have to get it insured just to use it.
So this Hessecore grip, it helps a lot with tennis elbow, which is a big problem at the moment with the sport. A lot of people are developing tennis elbow and that pain. This just helps eliminate a lot of the vibrations that come through the racket.
Okay. You said there are two different types of surfaces. Is there do I backhand with a one? Do I hit a long ball?
This is all the same. So this is all the same. I'm saying there's different types of surfaces for different types of rackets.
Right.
So the carbon, it goes from 3K carbon all the way up to 20K carbon. And then the higher the carbon, the more firm, more rigid, you'll get a lot more power. And then, like I said, this is the 2-to-1 aluminium, which is just a step up.
So I need my paddle. My balls are obviously different to tennis balls. Are they a little bit heavier?
So they are a little bit bigger.
Okay.
To start off with, should I open?
Yeah, please.
All right. So they're a little bit
brand new.
Smell that.
On debut on Coach on the Couch.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, no, listen. Straight from the factory.
A lot of people get off on that smell. I'm not one.
Is it bigger than a tennis ball?
So it's a little bit bigger than a tennis ball, yes. And it's not as, the air pressure is a little bit less. So it's a bit softer. If it was firm, it would kind of fly off the glass a bit too much.
Yes.
So the air pressure in the ball is a little bit less. And it's a slightly bigger.
So now, just to clear it up, you can't hit the ball directly into that back glass. So you can't stand there and the oak hits you the ball and you just want to hit sixes in the court. The ball has to bounce before it hits the glass.
Always has to bounce on the turf, on the other side. But you can use your own glass.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So it can bounce, it can hit the glass, and then you can hit it. But you cannot hit it directly into the glass because then that is out.
You can't hit it directly into their side of the glass. Yes, it has to hit the surface. You can hit it off your side of the glass.
Okay.
So let's say I'm playing over here, the glass is behind me, and I hit the ball off the glass there into the side of the court. You can do that.
Sure.
You can run out the court as well.
We need to go have a live session at a paddle court.
Well, I know a coach.
And he's not too far away. He's just here at Old Ed's as well. So we need to, because I'm still. So my paddle, my balls. Do I need particular shoes like you would have, like your tennis court shoes, or any trainers?
Yeah, so you can either play with tennis shoes or paddle shoes. I wouldn't recommend you play with running shoes just because of the ankle support.
Okay.
So you need.
So it's not about the bottom grippy, whatever.
It is a little bit about the bottom, so you can get away with it. Just you want that kind of like ridges so that you can have a little bit of grip. But the ankle support's more important, just so that, because there's a lot of change of direction, you don't want to roll your ankle.
Especially it's very quick movements because it's in a short area and space, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay, and a typical racket, not the 7.0 metabyte, version 2.7 Metallian grade with a Hessonite grip. A normal one that you'll get, a no-name brand. How much are they going for? So if I'm entry level,
yeah, you're looking at from 800 to about 2,000.
And how much would this be?
This is 8,000.
Letshabo.
So now a beginner falls into paddle. So look, from what I've seen from paddle is it's all beginners. Obviously, brand new sport. But now guys come through and they start really enjoying playing paddle. So how do you get to a level, or at what point do you say, I can actually be professional with this? What are the steps that go into place? And is there a lifestyle being a professional paddle player in SA?
So it's a good question. Good question. I think because there's no federation or governing body as of yet, it's kind of difficult to how do I become, what's my level? I think the best way to test yourself is against the international guys still. So we are getting there, but we're still definitely not where Spain and Argentina is. Even countries in Europe like Sweden, Netherlands, Italy.
Would you say that's because
very,
they've
very
got
big.
more tournaments?
They don't. I wouldn't actually necessarily have more tournaments. We have lots of tournaments.
Yes.
We have lots of tournaments. They do have more professional tournaments than us, but they also, I think the infrastructure is a little bit more advanced there in terms of they've had paddle for a little bit longer, and you've got the expertise more of the Spanish guys coming through there. It's a bit easier for them to take that knowledge, because that is still where the best guys are.
And speaking from your position personally, how have you fared on the international scene? So, it's all good and well, like Dino says, as we're developing to compete at this level here, but if we're going to compete internationally, we need to see where we're at in comparison to those international guys, so we can come back here and say, this is what we need to do. Yeah. So how have you fared? What was your last tournament, for example, and how did you go?
Yeah, so I've played in two, so the professional tour is called the A1 professional tour. There's another one. There's A1 professional and there's Premier Padel. A1 is a little bit below the Premier Padel. So I've played in the A1. I've played two tournaments actually, one in Cape Town and then one in Sweden.
Okay.
Both of them I lost in the first round. Not too bad. I think the big difference with those guys, and this is just for me personally speaking as well, I don't feel as though my level is worse than this. Like technically speaking, I can do all the same things they can do. They just play against better people day in, day out. So take it for example, you play against someone, you hit a certain shot that you know is a winner, it won't come back. There it will come back. It will come back again, and you just have to get into that rhythm where, okay, I just have to play one more. So I don't think there's that big of a difference technically, but just playing against better guys day in, day out, that makes a difference. And I think for someone who really wants to take it that step further, I think that international exposure is so important. And we are taking steps to get there. So we do have a quite a famous coach. His name is Willy Laos. So he's down here from Spain.
Okay.
And he's committed a year to come and coach here in South Africa.
Okay.
And he's a two-time world champion actually in the sport. And he's come down here to kind of grow the sport of paddle, which I think is amazing.
Yeah,
and
that was going to be my next question.
Done a lot for it.
Who is your role model in the industry? Do we have SA role models, or are you guys paving the way for the next guys?
I think it's a bit of both. We have our, obviously you have the top guys, but here in South Africa, who do they have to look up to in South Africa? And it's us. So I think we definitely play quite an important role in.
Okay, so now this coach comes to SA and gives a year to coaching. How do you get into being
access
into
to
his team? Yes.
So he's with. You can contact him, I believe. So he's with one of the companies called Baldwin Padel. So I'm sure you know of Baldwin Properties. So they've launched now a paddle division, and he's kind of signed quite exclusively with them. So I know he does offer private lessons. He offers a lot of classes and things like that. So the option is always there. I believe you just go straight through Baldwin. You contact them to try and book a lesson with him.
Have you personally had access to him as yet?
I have. So we actually played together.
Okay.
In that Cape Town tournament.
All right.
So that was really what kind of skyrocketed my paddle. So that was last year Feb. So I remember I really started to get into it in December. Then 2 months after that was the Cape Town leg of that A1 professional tournament. So I received the wild card for that tournament. So there was only one wild card for one South African player. And he was going to play with this Willy Laos. So I received that wild card to play with him. And, I learned so much just being with him, training with him, practice matches, and then obviously in the match as well. It was really, really an unbelievable experience. But
that's awesome. Does that make you ever feel like maybe you should go spend some time overseas?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Have you had any thoughts about that?
Yeah, so I'm going to Spain in September, the beginning of September.
Okay.
I think I'll spend like 2-3 weeks there. So I mean the goal now is to spend as much time there and then come back to kind of bring, because you want to bring the... And that's
because you're at home, if I'm not mistaken, you are the head coach at Old Ed. So you're also giving back to the community and How does that look? Who are you coaching? Who's a typical person coming for a lesson?
Absolutely everyone. Like you said, paddle is played by everyone. So I coach everyone of all ages. My youngest is 13 and my oldest is 65.
Now, Lucky, let me tell you about this story.
Okay.
Me and Gareth on the paddle court. In walks this auntie. She must be 60. The legs are a little bit not too strong.
Yeah.
And she dishes me and Gareth a 6-0, 6-0, 6-0 to the point when my fiance arrived. All of a sudden, the hamstring was I had to leave with a replacement, please. So,
Oh, yeah.
So, and she actually comes from a SA squash background. So that a lot of these kind of people are playing this sport. The paddle that was built by our golf club used to be the tennis courts, Lucky. They completely demolished the tennis courts and built 6 paddle courts.
Yeah. So remember the paddle is like a combination of tennis and squash.
Yeah.
Tennis in the fact that you play over towards the other side of the net, and squash you can use the glass around. So that's why you'll see. I mean, it's not. You can get beat by a guy you really don't think he's going to beat you just because they understand the game, and that's what it's all about. The best guys make the game look incredibly easy, and it makes it look like there's so much time because they understand. I mean, your understanding of the game is very important.
Let's bring it back to Dino's point about the development. You're involved in coaching, not just at Old Eds, but you're the regional coach in the Greater Johannesburg area. Tennis is dying in schools. Let's not mince our words about that. Padel is becoming popular. There's one school in the Midlands, to the best of my knowledge, Michael House, that were the first to get a paddle court built. I foresee in a year's time or so, we'll be having inter-schools competitions, which hopefully will help with the growth of the sport in terms of competitiveness, in terms of guys starting younger and hopefully seeing it into a league. Are you finding similar experiences with what you've seen in terms of the tennis not being so popular anymore, school dependent, but by and large, and then an avenue for paddle to take over there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think just with the way it's grown so much in the country, I think we are heading towards that direction a little bit. I think the main thing still lies the accessibility of the sport to everyone, because it still remains quite an expensive sport to play. I think what can be done is just the inclusivity of the sport can be bettered a little bit. I think that's the main thing. But I think once that is resolved, I think you'll see more and more people start to come through and play. Because with tennis, I think this is a good example and nothing against tennis. I think tennis will always still be the number one racket sport in the world. But if you wanted to go and play, let's say you have, so paddle is double, so it'll always be 4 people. But let's say you are 4 guys that want to go play a game of tennis. How are you going to be able to keep a rally with each other? Because tennis is quite a difficult sport to play.
Technically, yes.
Absolutely. Whereas with paddle, I've always said it's probably one of the easiest sports to play, but difficult to master.
Right.
So the 4 of you guys in the studio, you guys can all go play a paddle game, have the time of your life, probably have as much fun as me playing with 4 professional guys. And that's the main reason why I think paddle is so popular. That and the social aspect, of course.
Yeah, Dino knows all about the social aspect of any encounter.
Listen, Lucky, all sports are fun, okay?
Yes. Yeah, but the sport, not the before and after of the sport. You were speaking just before where you sat down, Adam, in terms of who is coming for paddle, and a large majority of it are more your out of school people, early 20s until an eventual age group. The younger school kids, why aren't they picking up paddle as quickly in your experience? I know you spoke about accessibility, which remains a massive factor. It is a niche sport. It is an elitist sport. Where can we begin our work in trying to encourage the sport amongst youngsters?
So I think what will always be the driving factor to why any school always plays sport is the league, the competition.
Right.
So because there's no real competition yet in the schools, I think that's a big reason. So like I said a bit earlier, with Padel, your tournaments are all hosted by these private organizations that own the paddle courts, that run these paddle courts. In the schools, there's no leagues yet. There's no competitions for other school kids to play kids from other schools. And I think once we get to that point, I think everything will change.
Okay, so when are you approaching the schools to start here in Durban?
We have already.
Okay.
We have already.
And making a bit of headway?
A little bit. You see, it's the tricky thing is getting it into their curriculum. It's not something we can just, this is not part of your curriculum now. It's something that we've got our foot in the door.
Above.
We need to just keep going to get a part of the curriculum. But I think once one or two schools kind of jump in, you kind of have that. You say, look, this school is in.
Knock-on effect.
Exactly.
Maybe it's also a question of like, what do you want to achieve in the sport? How can you? Because if you say you're a tennis player, you know that one day you want to play Roland Garros. Now you're a paddle player. What tournament do you really want to play? Is there tournaments that you look forward to? Is there the premium?
Yeah. So that's what it's called. It's called Premier Padel. So Premier Padel is the highest. The highest. It's like the
Is that
Champions
locally
League.
or internationally?
Internationally. Yeah.
And, so is that a league? Is that, a series of competitions until the eventual winner? How does it work?
Very similar to the tour that you'll see in tennis.
Right,
So tennis,
okay.
you have your ATP tour. So those are made up of your masters, like 1,500. Very, very similar to the paddle, where they have their tournaments that run throughout the year. They will have a P2, a P1, and then a major like a Grand Slam.
Yes.
So those are your big tournaments, and their calendar is throughout the year. It's very, very similar to tennis, and you acquire your points, your ranking through the tournament, and then you get your ranking, and then at the end of the year, who's number one. But the ranking constantly changes throughout, and I think quite a cool thing. Not many people know the tournament that happens in Paris. The Paris Major in the Premier Padel is played in center court of Roland Garros.
Oh, that's quite cool.
Yeah, so the French Open, so they take away the clay courts and they build the paddle court inside center court.
So it does show how popular it is over there.
I mean, so now you oh shit, sorry, I lost my thought there with that one. Okay, sorry, we're going back.
Yeah.
So now you want to play in this Premier League. How far away are you from reaching that type of goal?
I think for me to answer that question is a bit difficult before I need that international exposure.
Yes.
I think if I go play over there for 6 months, I train, play tournaments there, travel, then I can give you a proper answer.
Okay.
But for now, it's almost like my potential is untapped. I don't quite know.
Yes. So
because I can
goal?
only go so far in South Africa. Who can I actually play with to
Okay.
better myself? So absolutely, yes, that is one of my goals for sure.
I love how realistic you are, Adam, and it's so refreshing to see. One, from a school's point of view, because often, we have people that sit on our couch and they mention the challenges in their respective sport or in their respective industries. And then we ask, okay, but what are you doing? Yeah, but this federation must do this and this society must do this. So it's really refreshing to hear you say, you've made the means to go speak to schools. There is something there in the pipeline. You're making means to travel overseas to better yourself, to hopefully get into the top leagues in the world. And that's really, that resilience that we want to see from people that are involved in our sports. You're speaking about a lot of travel. You're speaking about a lot of international travel. Who's funding this?
So, yeah, I think at the moment it's with my sponsors at Adidas. They are the bulk of the sponsorship. But with the paddle players, and you'll find, I don't know if you can Google a picture of a paddle player, and you'll see their shirt is like lit up like a Christmas tree.
With sponsors.
With all of their sponsors. So that is what makes up kind of like the professional paddle player, because there's not just one. You have many legs of different sponsors. You can have your clothing sponsor, your lifestyle sponsor, your nutritional sponsor, and all of that. You're looking at maybe 8 to 10 sponsors that all come together. And I'm in the process of that as well, which is quite exciting. And then once that all comes together, you can really start building a package where, okay, this is what I'm going to do there. This is what I'm going to do there. I'm going to travel here for so long. I'm going to play here.
So at the moment, if I hear you correctly, Adidas and Virgin Active, in terms of the actual pedal facilities, are at the forefront in terms of throwing financial support behind the sport. Is that right at the moment?
That's correct.
So we're needing, more sponsors to get on board, which is always a thing in our sport, and hopefully they do. Let's get involved in Pedal, guys. Very, very marketable product, as you've heard from from Adam here, and I hope it grows from strength to strength. And hey, who knows? We've got a new sports minister here, and I would use superlatives, but it's a PG-rated show, this one. But hey, things might turn up there with Sports Minister Gayton McKenzie. So who knows? He might watch the program, and then Adam, come, CEO of Padel South Africa, let's go.
I think we should start local, and maybe we get a studio game going.
A studio game? Jeez, I might not be a studio left.
Oh, no, listen, the game will not be filmed at any cost.
Yeah, please, no. Adam, you're going to, your plans are to go to Spain in September to spend some time there. You said 2 weeks towards a month. Your middle term goal, if I hear you correctly, is to stay there for about 6 months and to really compete against the best of the best, to bring that knowledge not only back here but also to see where you are at in a level, and then optimistically looking into the next 24 months for you personally and for the sport in South Africa. What would that look like if all things were to go accordingly?
I think to answer your question in terms for me, personally speaking, I think it's a little bit unknown. I think it's a bit unknown, which is a good thing. The sport itself, a lot of the future is quite unknown, which makes it quite exciting. But most importantly for me, I think I just need to get as much exposure as I can. As much exposure as possible is the best thing for myself. And then in terms for the country as a whole, I think the more international exposure we get, it can only better the sport. And I think the big thing now is getting the sport into the schools. I think that's our big goal, big target of ours at the moment.
Let's get into the schools, guys. Come on, get involved. I know a lot of you are taking part in the clubs as well, but hopefully the schools do get involved. It is tricky, like you mentioned, Adam, because particularly for your traditional schools, there's set sports that we play in the summertime, in the wintertime, etc. So now to throw another sport into that, some schools will be a little bit more reluctant. Some schools will be open to that. Your non-traditional schools, they're looking for new sports. For example, you see some of the schools not adopting rugby because it's just not them. But then they pick up touch rugby or they pick up the sevens rugby. So a lot of schools are willing to adapt. So it's just about approaching the right schools and them knowing that they can be a league, they can be a competition.
It's a two-man team. I'm sure the smaller schools would love that.
Yeah. A lot of these schools, your smaller schools that don't have 1,100 boys to put out, 18 fixtures on a weekend, they're looking for something where their learners can get a little bit more involved. They're looking for those social skills, like you said. You get your and I'd like to hear your opinion, Adam. A lot of these sports, like your sprinters, your swimming, your tennis players, it's a lonely sport. I'm training by myself. I'm competing against myself, and what we're seeing with the youngsters coming up, they are lacking those social skills, and sports like this here builds a lot of social skills, not quite the ones that you are thinking of, Dino, but certainly, just building there. Would I be right in that assumption in terms of just playing by myself? Solitary wise, it's tough to be your own motivator, your own coach and your own competitor.
Look, I think any sport, if you really want to be good at it, has that element of loneliness. You have to be willing to go the extra mile if you are really serious about your sport. And then I think it's just a bonus. These social sports, these team sports, it's fantastic for the individual growing up, coming up, because you do lose a bit of that social skills with those kind of individual sports. But even then, there's always you can always go back to that team environment, which is, I think that's the highlight of any schoolboys that's playing sport.
Or schoolgirl.
Padel is played in a team of two. Now, as much as it's a team, it must still be an individual sport. And with that being said, How do you choose your partner?
That's a tough question.
It's a great question. And do you have the same partner for all your competitions?
Listen, I
or
have
is it
a
on the
new
WhatsApp
partner
group?
every
Who's
week.
available? Playing
So
at
look,
6
I've
o'clock.
seen a lot of relationships go down the drain
They don't
because
want
of
to play
this.
with Dino because you keep smashing it into the net.
No, it's a quite a touchy subject, and a lot of, like I said, a lot of relationships have gone south because of this, and it's so tough, because you're only as good as your partner. I mean, you can be amazing, but at the end of the day, it's a team sport. You've got to find a way to play with your partner, and
So that's obviously game plan, tactics, as well as your own
Just hit the ball over the
abilities.
net.
yeah,
It's tricky.
no, absolutely, it's very tricky.
So who is your partner currently?
I don't have a partner currently
Okay.
at the moment, so I kind of bounce around between different guys. I would like to get a partner that I can kind of commit a couple of tournaments to. I think it's good, you train together, you're on the same kind of schedule, timeline. But I also don't think the way these tournaments are set up at the moment accounts for that. Because these tournaments just come up left, right, and center, and it's like you either play, you find your partner, you play, you find your partner, you play. And I think that's why we need to get more of a governing body, a federation involved, so that we can get a calendar, and we can sit at the beginning of the year. You can look for your partner, and then, I mean, if things goes wrong, you can kind of change. That's how they do it professionally. If they don't work out after a couple of tournaments, they change. But you want to commit to a partnership. You don't want to bounce between.
In South Africa, what is our biggest tournament? What's the prize money look like?
I'm playing a very big one in 2 weeks.
Where's that?
It's at Taba Eco Estate, Joburg South.
Okay.
Yeah, 200k.
Prize money.
Yeah,
Is that for first place or Wonkumuntu?
that's
No, you get to some tournaments and they say,
you're gonna see Lucky on the paddle courts next
That's-
no, listen, you get some tournaments, they say prize money 200,000.
yeah.
But then you get there, it's split amongst position
Yes.
1,
Yeah, it
2,
is.
3.
Look, okay, so I think first place is 50k
Yeah, bon. You see. And that's between you and your partner, or 50-50.
between you and your partner.
Okay. So that's at Taba Eco Hotel in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks on the 13th.
And then how many
over the
teams
12th
would be
to the
entered
14th.
into that?
So there's a lot of brackets, like how the tournaments are set up nowadays. So you'll have your intermediate, you have your beginner, intermediate, advanced. You get that for ladies and men's. So that's already 6 divisions.
Sure.
Then you have mixed as well. And I don't know, they'll maybe split up 2 or 3 in the mix. So then you're looking at 8 or 9 different tournaments within this one that's going on now.
Gee,
And then just for my friends at Padel Collective, what would your handicap have to be at before you could consider taking on professionals?
Professionals, what kind of professionals?
Like yourself.
you win.
A tough question. I think above a 4 or 5. I think above a 5.
Above a 5. Wow.
So nowhere
Lucky-
near you guys. Nowhere near. Huh?
Just to put it into context, I'm going to lie a little bit, Joe. Right? I'm going to lie a little bit, yeah. I'm a 1.6.
So in reality, a 0.6.
No, and we reckon we play some decent paddle. The boys get down there. It's a lot of boys who used to play tennis and play squash. And you can see in the beginning that those skills were what were beating everybody. But now that we've been playing, Padel Collective's been going now 5 months. You can see the progression of the game.
absolutely.
Now, everybody can hit the ball. Now it becomes the chess game
Yeah.
of paddle.
So I'll tell you this, and this is not to get your hopes down or anything. Everyone in the sport, including myself, thinks they are a lot better than what they are. Because the sport is so easy to play, everyone thinks they are the best. And it's just the way it is. And it's why the sport is so good, so like popular as well.
Yes.
Because you can play with your guys that you play with. You can kill them, you can, and you can.
In your WhatsApp group, you're the best.
I'm pretty good
next
at this
week
actually.
you're clicking advanced.
Yeah.
That's why I invite you to come and watch one of these tournaments, just these professional tournaments, just to see what it's all about.
Well, I'm very interested. So you say Taba Eco Estate in 2 weeks. That's the one you at. And is that tournament wrapped up in one day?
It's from the 12th to the 14th. So Friday we'll start like the group stages. Towards the end, the evening we'll start the knockouts, and then Sunday is usually the semifinals to the finals.
Is it on any platform where we can check it out online? Is there a website to access? Where do we?
Yeah, I mean the streaming is usually done by the guys running the tournament. So on Baldwin Padel, you can go to their YouTube page, or if not Baldwin Padel, there's also Padel Central.
Okay,
they do a lot of the streaming. So you can just go to their page on YouTube and then you can watch. But if not that tournament, it's also a very big tournament on the 27th of July. It's called the Durban Masters, but it's happening here. So it's the Durban Masters because the first edition was in Durban, and now they're bringing the tournament to KCC, Killarney Country Club, also in Houghton. Yeah.
Oh, this is around the corner there. So, Adam, we could run on and on here. There's just so much, but you've really just given us such a unique perspective into padel. It is a massively growing sport, and to have somebody come and just educate us on the sport and just give us a reality of where the sport is has been really, really wonderful. So we do thank you for coming through this morning and sharing a little bit of your knowledge. I will say this is not the last time, please, that we have this conversation. Hopefully going forward, we can look to you and to see, it'd be nice to have a chat 6 months from now and see, when Adam was last year, where we at now with the sport. It would be wonderful to see that progression. But please tell the guys watching there, where do we support you on social media? Do we follow you somewhere? I'm assuming details of your tournaments also appear there.
Yeah.
Where do you coach? How does someone access you if you'd like a session? Just please give us 30 seconds there of where do we find you?
Yeah. So the main platform I'm on is on Instagram. So there you can find everything, the tournament schedule, any updates that's going on in my life. Also my details for my coaching, also on Instagram. That's at Adam V Harte. So Adam van Harte, just with a V. And yeah, you can find everything there on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll make sure that we just put that link underneath your name. So when Adam does this, then magically
we're gonna get that one.
Magically appear there. But Adam, geez, absolute pleasure having you on the couch today. And all the best, guys, for your preparations, and not only for September, but for the upcoming tournament as well at Taba Eco Hotel. Jeez, what a sport. So I hope you got 8,000 Rand lying somewhere if you want this metallic-y 2.07 division, what, with the high facilitance handle as well. Guys, that's us for this week here. Keep following us on social media. Please do like and subscribe on here on our YouTube on our YouTube platform. TikTok as well, guys. We really love engaging with you, particularly on TikTok and on Instagram. Keep it up there at Coach and a Couch. Catch me, Lucky Letshabo, on TikTok and Instagram, and the donks, Dino, Valentino, Biani on the socials as well. We'll try our best to get back to you. We've had some interesting conversations. Someone wants to get a footballer on here to ask what is going on with football in our schools. So we'll try. Do that. Some of you want your captains to come onto the show to talk about sports. So we love the engagement, but slowly but surely we'll get there. But we really do love the interaction. Keep it positive, please. I was sulking a little bit. I saw one comment there that was very derogatory, so I didn't like that. So don't do that, please. But keep chatting to us. We are quite open, and we do want to get the people that you would like to see on the couch here. Like we said, our intention is to educate, to inform with a bit of banter as well. So keep it up, guys. That's us for this week. From myself, Lucky Letshabo, and Dino Donks Biani. Thanks once again to Adam van Harte for being on the couch. From our couch
to yours.
We'll see you next week.
Shot boy.